First off, I received a review copy of this game for free from Keymailer and the devs, however I was not paid for promotion and all opinions are my own. Today we're looking at Spider Fox, a, for lack of a better term, collect-a-thon platformer, developed and published by Planet 47 Games. Now, I know I just called this a platformer, but if you're looking for actual difficult platforming, you're probably going to want to look elsewhere. Mario 64 / Banjo-Kazooie, this is not. Let's get right into it with the graphics. I think generally, outside of character models, but I'll get to that in a minute, most of Spider Fox is fairly appealing. I get a very strong Disney magical forest vibe from most of the levels, and that's not a bad thing. The lighting is nicely handled, and the draw distance seems to be forever if you decide to turn everything all the way up. Now that being said, turning everything all the way up pinned my 3060 Ti to 100% usage, so your mileage may vary. I assume this is something to do with optimization, but I don't know enough about the back end to say for sure. Now, onto the character models. They're weird. The humans all look like Xbox Live avatars from the 360 era, but with a big head cheat enabled. And the animals... well, I know the creator of this game wanted to help his son with their fear of spiders by fusing one with something they found cute, a fox. But having shown this to multiple people, we all feel that while this may have worked for their kid, my friends and I all feel it is nightmare fuel. There are a couple of ways the model moves, especially while climbing, that are beyond freaky. The other animals are a mixed bag. Some look like cool fusions of two different animals, but some have strange choices made with, say, which animal's skin to give the combination. Also, I know this isn't strictly graphics, but whenever you cure a hybrid, both animals that created it pop out of the air in idle animations, and it just looks really jarring. The same applies to chests dropped by the robots. I will concede that the robot animals all look very cool, and the design of the main robots isn't bad either. The evil rats are another story altogether. Musically, this game isn't pushing any boundaries. I feel that most everything fits in with that feeling of watching an old Warner Brothers cartoon. I think the soundtrack would fit perfectly over a scene with two characters bounding over a green meadow. If you could encapsulate that feeling across an entire soundtrack, I feel that this would be it right here. That said, I didn't find much variation. I think I would have preferred a few tracks with a little more energy as well. The sound design is fine. I'm actually a fan of all the little noises Spider Fox makes as you jump around the fairly large levels. They actively remind me of the character sounds from Banjo-Kazooie, or more recently, Yooka-Laylee. You've got all your bings and bonks and stings when you collect your tons of collectibles to help that little goblin in your brain know you're doing good. Now, on to some gameplay. As the title says, you're in control of Spider Fox, and having just escaped from the evil, gene-fusing mad scientist's lair, it's your job to right his wrongs by unfusing all of his weird animal hybrids. You do this by running, jumping, web swinging, on some surfaces, I'll get to that in a bit, and shooting web balls. Webs are your main resource throughout the game, allowing you to fix the hybrid animals, break boxes, and after charging for 2 seconds, fire a huge super web that can defeat robots or break down rock walls. I didn't have much trouble with running out of webs as I played, though on a quick aside, you don't actually have a health bar and taking hits makes you lose webs. I left the game open without pausing to go use the bathroom, and I came back to having 0 webs down from 2,000-ish webs, so make sure to use that pause button. And now, if you're paying attention, this shouldn't be a problem, and I think this was implemented just to make the game a little more child-friendly. So again, if you're paying attention and don't get hit while you're AFK, you should be fine. So as for the web swinging, the main traversal mechanic touted by Spider Fox, it's great when it works. I feel like it's very arbitrary about what you can grapple to or not. There are some trees that work and some rocks that work and others that just don't. Visually, I'd like to have some clearer indication of what I can and can't grapple to outside of simply getting close enough in order to see my cursor change to the magical "you can grapple" icon. Having said that, flying around the levels when you can actually find things to grapple to feels great. I would love to see the ground be grappleable. This would make level traversal easy and fast and help navigate the, well, I'll talk about my feelings on the levels in just a second. Consistency on what you can web to is paramount here, I think, because again, this is probably the most enjoyable part of Spider Fox when it works. Now the levels. The levels are huge, and this can be a good thing. However, I feel without clear signposting and more defined goals, this is where Spider Fox started to fall a little flat for me. In each level, you're tasked with finding 3 coins before you're given a mini-map. Now, I didn't realize until I was halfway through my 3rd level that there is actually a full-size map you have access to at all times, that also thankfully records where you've walked so far. But in these gigantic levels, it can be very frustrating to find all 3 coins, even with this big map. I actually still don't have the mini-map in the 1st level, and since the level is so friggin' gigantic, I can't be bothered to go back and do another sweep. I've already gotten most of the animals even without the minimap, but as I said earlier, the levels look fairly nice, but are pretty generic. You've got forest, other forest, forest with cave, swampy forest, desert. I mean, I know this game is semi-rooted in reality, but I still could have dealt with some more things to make the massive levels feel a little bit less empty. Another thing I felt was slightly strange was the variation in level size. As the game goes on, the levels seem to shrink. Not that I'm complaining, mind you, I find smaller levels easier to control the quality on. However, with a lack of graphical fidelity on what you can interact with, even with the smaller levels, it can still be a nightmare to find all 3 coins. Now, one welcome differentiation with this formula is the boss levels that pop up as you progress. These consist of you having to make your way through a more planned out linear level, defeating enemies and collecting the mad scientist coins they drop. This is a search and destroy mission, only ending when you've beaten all the baddies and gotten all the coins, a stark difference to the meandering main levels. I think you've even got a winner on your hands if you take this engine and then make interesting, well thought out challenge levels based on the mechanics you've already built. So, final thoughts. This wasn't my favorite game. I liked certain parts, the web slinging when working, the boss levels, and also, I just want to say I generally do like collect-a-thons on a whole, so it wasn't just that I don't like that genre. I just felt some things lacked a ton of polish, like pop-ins when spawning new models, weird consistency issues, lack of fidelity to tell what I can actually interact with, and web slinging just not working on some surfaces. I feel as though the dislike of large levels is more of a subjective thing on my part, and some people just want more of the thing they like, I get it. However, I felt them to be overly big with comparatively little to do. If you had some actual scripted challenges a la Banjo-Kazooie, that would actually really help elevate the experience. So if you've got a kid who really likes spiders or foxes or collect-a-thons in general, I could see them having some fun with Spider Fox, but outside of that, without some fairly large quality of life upgrades and a real good spitshine, I have a hard time recommending Spider Fox to the general public. And as always, thank you so much for watching, it really means a ton. I know this might not have been my most positive review, but well, I mean, it takes all kinds of games, and I still really appreciate the opportunity to be able to play this. So thank you very much, and everybody have an awesome day. Bye!